Alright, so this is my aquaponics system. It is the first one I've ever done. It was fun, it was a challenge. Mostly cutting the barrel in half, getting the barrel to set right in the frame, and getting it all plumbed correctly and getting the pump working correctly. Say the most challenging part has been balancing the outflow with the outflow, or the inflow on the ball valve with the outflow from the bell siphon. It's something that you kind of just have to play with depending on the size of your tank, the gallons per minute or hour of your pump, how many head. Head is the distance that the water has to travel up to its outflow point, and the size of your grow bed. I've been playing with it for about a week now, just balancing it out. I finally filled the bed up today with the lava rock, the medium, and everything seems to be working perfectly. It's cycled about 20, 30 times since I finished it this morning, and everything's looking good. Okay, so basically what I did is I took a 55-gallon drum and I cut it in half lengthwise. The approximate dimensions of the drum were 37 high and 23 wide as far as the diameter of the barrel. So each section is approximately 37 long by 11.5 deep. It's very important if you use this type of barrel, when you cut it in half, you make sure that you do not cut through the bung. Okay? Don't cut through that. If you do cut through that, you just ruin the barrel. Make sure you have at least one bung, if there are two, on the bottom of each side of the barrel. You can use this as a secondary drain if you need to. Let's see what else. The frame itself is approximately 26 left to right, the way we're looking at it now, 37 front to back, and 40 high. It's basically just 2x4s. Once I finish transplanting and making sure that everything is working correctly, I will cover the outside with either cedar or redwood or something so it looks nice, and so my wife doesn't yell at me for putting another crappy thing in the backyard. The pump, basically it's a it's a Lang 3400 1/20th of a horse RPM fluid pump. I got it from work. A lot of people might not have access to something like this for free. You can buy one. Depending on the style you get, these go for anywhere from $120 to $180. You can start off with something as simple as a $30 submersible aquarium pump from Walmart. It's up to you, entirely within your budget. I use all 3/4 inch PVC. Some places I've reduced it to restrict the flow, where I have, this used to be a carbon bed filter, but I've since changed it out for just a straight cloth and medium filter. All it needs to do is just filter out some of the solids before they enter the actual impeller housing for the pump. As you can see, the water is kind of dirty because I put the new lava rock in this morning. This will filter out in probably about 6 or 7 more hours. It'll be almost crystal clear by the time I get up tomorrow morning. But as you can see, the water here is crystal clear. So it's being filtered, it just has to turn it several times. I would say the most challenging part of this was not just cutting the barrel in half and figuring out how to do that correctly, but if the barrel has been used and reused and used and reused, it's not going to be a perfect cylinder. It's going to be kind of cocked a little bit. So you have to take that into account when you go to put it into your frame. Once you put water and rock and medium in it, everything will sort of level out. So don't be freaked out if when you get it all framed out and squared up and then you set it on the ground and it's empty and one of the legs is not touching the ground. That'll all balance out. I had the same problem. The second most challenging part was balancing the inflow from the pump with the outflow of the bell siphon. because I'm using such a, I guess, a high-powered pump, it's restricted a good amount right now. It's probably cut down to a third of its max output. But because I'm using such a high output pump, I had to put a ball valve in here to restrict the inflow, because my outflow is only a 1/2 inch. So the tank would fill up and stay full at max inflow, and it wouldn't drain fast enough. So that's something that I've been playing with for about a week off and on. It's been a challenge, but it's also been fun at the same time. My outflow is simply a bulkhead fitting with a 1/2 inch OD, or ID I should say, to a 1/2 inch T, another 1/2 inch, 12 inch 1/2 inch nipple that I cut in half, and then you can't see it right now, and I'm not going to hang my camera over the water, but underneath, on the underside of the pipe, there are holes drilled, 6 per side, and once the water starts draining out, it pours into the tank and aerates the water, and it cycles about, I'd say 4 to 5 times an hour, maybe even 6. I haven't really clocked it this morning since I put the rock in, but it does it several times an hour, which is great, because you want to turn your tank at least 3 times an hour so that any ammonia that you have is being moved through your filter medium into your lava rock, where your bacteria growth is going to break it down into nitrates, or nitrogen, fish or plant food. Like I said, this is my first one. This is the first video I've made of it. It looks kind of rough right now, but like I said, I promised my wife that I would frame it out, that I would trim it with something nice and stain it so it looked nice. I transplanted the eggplant yesterday, as well as the okra. They seem to be doing fine still. I just transplanted this strawberry this morning, and this melon this morning as well. There are several fish in there right now. There's probably 13 or 14 fish, some small goldfish, and then some other ones, some edible kind. I'm not going to tell you which though. Let's see. Everything seems to be working good. The bell siphon is essentially a 2-inch piece of ABS with a cap on it. I have a 1-inch piece of PVC reduced down to a 1/2 inch. The 1-inch PVC is approximately 9 inches. The bell siphon is approximately 9 inches as well. You want to have the overall length of your PVC bell, or your ABS bell, whatever you make it out of, about the same as the length of your inner nipple, the nipple that the water actually is going to flow out through. The reason being is you're going to have about a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch difference from the top of your 3/4 inch pipe to the actual crown of your cap, because it's a dome essentially. That will allow your siphon to build up enough suction so it works properly. I filled it up to about 9 or 10 inches or so of rock. That way the water line stays just below the top surface of the rock, because you don't actually want the stem of the plants to be submerged in water, because that's going to cause them to rot. That's why you don't water a regular soil garden every single day unless it's like 180,000 degrees. You want the root zone to be wet, but you want it to be continuously cycling with fresh water. As you can see, it's draining now and it's good. Plenty of aeration. The fish seem to be happy. The only fish that I've lost were in the first 2 or 3 days, which, you buy goldfish and you put them in your tank at home, and you buy 30 of them because you know you're going to lose 15 in the first day. Just the way it is. But other than that, they seem to be happy. I even caught a frog at work and threw it in here, but I don't know what happened to him. That's pretty much it. It's been fun. It's been simple. Hopefully it's everything everybody claims it to be. And I've already have plans for if this does pan out, that this fall, when I rip the soil garden out, I will build an even bigger aquaponics system over there. But I'll keep you posted. Thanks for watching. Feel free to email me if you have any questions. Thanks.